Okay, good morning. My name is Kaylee Zeidler and this is Ruby Reyna, and we are certified mediators and have been trained to hear disputes such as the one before us today. Our purpose here today is to act as the mediators in this case and to assist you in the resolution of the dispute that brings us to the table. Let me begin by stating that I'm not here to represent either side in any particular position. I will not express partiality or take sides during this process. My goal is to assist each of you in reaching an acceptable settlement of this matter. I have no power to impose a decision on you or to decide how this matter should be settled. In a mediation session, I ask of you to verify that you willingly accept the opportunity to participate so that you are both comfortable with each other's good intentions. So if you could please sign these agreements to participate in the process. So confidentiality is a critical part of the process. Generally, if you tell me something in private and ask me to keep it confidential, I am bound by law to not disclose this information voluntarily. Having said that, I want you to please remember that facts that were discoverable before the mediation session do not become confidential merely because they were presented during a mediation conference. It is only those things you say or write in confidence to me during the mediation that I will not disclose.
Before we begin, let me explain the procedure that we will use. When I complete these preliminary statements, each of you will have the opportunity to make an uninterrupted opening statement to describe the problem as you see it. First, I will ask Ms. Taylor to make an uninterrupted opening statement. I would like it if both of you could explain yourselves from the start to finish on the matter. Please keep in mind that we need to be respectful of one another and to not interrupt each other when we speak. Afterwards, I will then ask Mrs. Johnson to tell us her side of the story. After that, we will transition into a joint discussion centering on possible solutions, and I ask that each of you will be thinking of how you might like to resolve this matter. If we reach an agreement today, it will be written, and each of you will be asked to verify and sign it. I will also sign it as a witness. Each of you will be provided with a copy of the agreement today. At this time, please turn off all cell phones, pagers, and electronic devices. Let me once again congratulate you for being here today and to try to work this out. Your presence here today demonstrates your willingness to attempt cooperative problem solving. Are there any questions at this point?
I don't think so.
If not, let's proceed. Mrs. Taylor, if you could please give us your point of view on the ongoing dispute.
Okay, well, good morning. Well, I have two children, Joshua and Jamie, and I'm an anesthesiologist in Brentwood, California, and me and my husband, we work very long hours, and we've dedicated set time and schedules to have family time in our household, and we really value our family. So, specifically on Wednesday nights, we have family night where we play games, and on Saturdays, after 4, our children are allowed free time after their equestrian practice. And I saw Miss Johnson. I was outside with my kids one Saturday, and we were chilling at the pool or hanging out at the pool, and there's a crack, or not a crack, but like a hole in our fence, and it appeared as if you were nude, like you were just, you didn't have clothes on. And I mean, it shocked me right off the bat because I mean, my children are only 9 and 12, and I didn't know what to think. And I mean, I rushed them in the house, but you were nude, and I don't know why. I tried to approach you on the matter, and you kind of just, well, I felt as if you brushed me off, and you didn't care to listen to my concerns. So, I mean, that's the problem. I mean, I don't believe my children should witness your nudity. I mean, that's not appropriate, and I fear that they may see something or that they're in danger. So I hope that we can establish some guidelines to where you're not nude in public, or you at least keep that in the house, not around windows and such.
Okay. Mrs. Johnson.
So me and my husband, we've been living in the neighborhood for over 10 years. We just renovated the backyard. We added, the new patio, hot tub, barbecue, and all that. And so that night actually that she was talking about, me and my husband decided to go swimming in our hot tub. So I don't see how our kids saw it because we built an 8-foot fence and we made sure that the backyard is like secure and like no one else can see. And I mean, it is our backyard, so we just feel like we can do, you know, whatever we want with it. And sometimes, yes, we admit that like nights go late and we're a little loud because we have a lot of friends over, but we just feel like because we worked so hard for the backyard that we deserve to be out, you know. We're young, we're newlywed, so I mean, we just want to enjoy our time. And Miss Taylor actually, I thought was really rude. One morning when I was in the driveway, she starts yelling at me. I mean, not yelling, well, like rambling on about her children's safety and their well-being. And I just felt like it was really none of her business. I mean, whatever she saw, they were the ones peeking through, looking at us in our backyard. So, and also something I didn't like, she actually, her and her husband, I guess, put a sign that said, no nudity, there are children present. And so I thought that was extremely childish and low class. They put this sign in front of their house. So, yeah, I thought that was really embarrassing and it was so rude of them. And I'm seriously considering filing a lawsuit against them for harassment because I felt like they called us out in front of everybody and were just purposely trying to be hateful towards us.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
Yes, I
on that
do.
matter?
Well, first off, I mean, my husband and I, we are new to the neighborhood. We just recently purchased this house and we've worked very hard to purchase this house. I mean, it's a very nice house. On matters of the sign, it was not harassment. We were not being harassed. If you took it as being personal, that's in your own opinion. I mean, we specifically placed a sign out that said no nudity, there were children present. But if you took it as if we were signaling you, that might be an issue you have to work out for yourself. I mean, it was for the neighborhood. But in regards to that, no, we weren't peeking at you, we weren't spying at you. I could care less about what you and your husband. Question, what exactly do you and your husband do? Like, what is your career field? Yes.
I'm a lawyer and my husband is a doctor.
Okay.
So as you can see, we're good people. We have good intentions. We're just young and we want to have fun and we want to do whatever we please in our backyard.
And you lived here for 10 years, you say?
Yes, 10
Right.
years into the neighborhood.
What made you choose this neighborhood?
We thought it was a nice area and it was private and, we thought we could start our new life. in this neighborhood.
I don't know, my personal opinion, I just don't feel like it's a good fit. I mean, I feel like the neighborhood is just so traditional and so upkept. Like, I just feel maybe, I don't know, I feel like maybe moving somewhere more relaxed and hippie to your nature, like maybe Long Beach or something would suit you better. I mean, if you feel that it's appropriate to roam around naked in the back, I mean, that's your business. But I mean, regardless if there are kids present or not, I mean, that's not very, no, you should not do that outside. You should keep that inside. No one needs to see that.
Well, I feel like, we have the right to do whatever we want in our backyard. I mean, we're not in public, so I
Right.
think it's okay.
Just like I have a right to do whatever I want. Like I posted the sign in my front yard.
So is there, with the issue about nudity, is there a hole in the fence? Is that why you can see?
Well, yes,
through
I mean, I
there?
clearly saw. I mean, there's a hole in our fence. There's one fence that separates our two property lines, and I was walking by and saw, and then I went up to see, like, oh my gosh, am I seeing correctly? And they were out there nude.
Well, we always try to make sure that, like, it's late at night so nobody sees, but, I mean, and we did, like I said before, we spent $30,000 renovating the backyard, and that included the 8-foot fence that we built to cover, so nobody sees. So we do try to make sure that nobody's watching or, but, I mean, we can't help it if people are being nosy and purposely try to look, so.
Yeah, I'm not purposely trying to, I don't care to look at you and your husband. that's not a purpose type of thing. It's just not appropriate. It shouldn't be done.
So what you're trying to say is you're offended by
I'm
them being
very
neutered.
offended. I'm very offended. I mean, me and my husband were Christian, and we send our children to Valley Oaks Christian High School. It's a very, or not high school, but it's a school K through 12 or whatever. And I mean, they learn Christian values, and they're taught. They go to church. There's chapel. There's all of that. And I just feel that that's not respectful. Are you Christian?
No, we're atheists.
Oh, wow. I mean, no, like, that's no problem or anything. I just feel this might not be the best neighborhood. I'm just confused as to how you thought living here would work. I mean, you guys just don't seem to fit.
Okay, let's refrain from making judgments about, everybody's gonna have,
Yeah, I was
people
gonna
in
say, I
the
feel like
neighborhood.
Miss Taylor is judging us a lot, and I feel like, they kind of have no business for what we're doing, especially in our backyard.
It becomes my business when I fear my children are in danger or at risk of seeing nudity, which is inappropriate.
But we must remember that we're here to have open communication, and we're not supposed to be attacking each other.
Oh, I'm not
We're supposed to
attacking.
find,
I agree.
Does
I
that
agree.
make sense?
No, I very much agree.
So I don't see how we can solve the problem because, I feel like I have a right to do whatever I want in the backyard.
And an 8-foot fence is pretty tall.
I
Yeah,
mean, obviously
So-
it's not tall enough.
and we made
If we
sure
can see
that,
through.
Right, of course.
Right. Let's make that clear. What this 8-foot
But
fence
is the fence is it made of wire and they're only overlapping each other, or is it wooden?
it's wooden,
Okay.
wooden fence. We made sure of this because we, didn't want this type of stuff to happen because we don't want anybody to see. I mean, if we
And you're
want
only
to keep
doing
it
it in
private.
your backyard.
In our backyard, only in our backyard, in our hot tub that we just got.
Well, what about, so some of your issues, you see the nudity, and then your issue is with her is that you feel like she's making judgments towards you, but
And the whole sign situation, we really didn't appreciate that because, that makes us look bad.
So you
I mean-
feel humiliated.
Yes, definitely.
As
a
My
result
husband
of
feel
this
very
sign.
humiliated.
I need it to be clear that the sign did not specifically say, Mr. Miss Johnson, please don't be nude in your backyard. I mean, the sign, like as you said, you feel you can do whatever you want, right? I feel I can do whatever I want. And the sign was posted just to say, hey, no nudity. Please leave their children present.
So just to be clear, you've only seen them nude in their own backyard, but not nowhere else?
I've seen them nude in their own backyard, but I can visibly see them nude through my
From the hole.
backyard. And I have children who,
From the hole though?
yes, from this hole in the fence.
Okay.
And I have children who could also possibly see them nude, and I do not want them. That is not appropriate for a 9 and 12-year-old.
So if the hole was covered,
yeah, or maybe, the hole obviously needs to be rented, and then if we were to maybe put some restrictions on timing, just because since there are children that live next to you, would you consider something like that?
I mean,
Is that
yeah, we
right?
usually always try to, watch out, make sure the coast is clear and all that before we go in the hot tub. But I mean, I don't know their schedule, so I don't know when they would be in the backyard or when they would accidentally look. So I mean, we just, because it's our own backyard, we figured that we can just do whatever we'd like.
Okay, well maybe, okay, so do you agree about the fence? Maybe we can put a.
Yeah, definitely. I had no idea about the hole. I didn't even notice. So I mean, or I'm sure my husband didn't.
you might
even
want to check
notice
for other
either.
holes.
Yeah, we could definitely,
Right.
check. I mean, we spent already so much money to keep it
No, no.
private. We wanted to make sure it's covered, nobody can see us. If that's the case, definitely we can get that fixed.
Okay. And what about reasonable times? Do you
Yeah.
feel that's appropriate? Maybe it's just sitting at least after nightfall and at a reasonable time when other people may
Yeah,
not be in bed?
we usually make sure it's at night, but I mean, we can definitely come up with something
Mhm.
I mean,
schedule
well,
for that?
my children, lights are out at 10, and they have to be in their bed. So usually, like by 9:30, they're in the bed, but 10 they're asleep. So 10 p.m. would work. But I mean, it's not just that. I mean, it wasn't a complete bothersome to me, but you guys occasionally throw like late parties late at night, and I mean the noise isn't excessively loud, but I mean you can still hear it. And if they're on weekdays, I feel like that's also not appropriate for children. And I've heard you guys on the patio, so I don't like that either.
Do you think another concern is, I'm sorry, so what kind of houses do you live in? Do you live in two-story houses? One
Yes,
story?
they're two-story
So
houses.
even though it's an 8-foot fence, I'm pretty sure that your children
I mean, if I'm
yourself,
upstairs,
yeah, you could probably
through
see
those windows, I
clearly.
very well could see.
But I'm sure only if they try hard to see.
Right.
Like, I don't think it can.
Are your
happen.
windows
Well, I mean,
facing?
my children are facing your property. Their bedrooms are on your property side. So, I mean, the noise gets kind of loud on weekdays. And it's kind of, I mean, you're a lawyer and a doctor, and
I mean, you know, we work really hard, we just want to have fun. And we feel like we have every right to do so.
yeah, you're not tired at night though?
No.
Like in those long hours in the law firm and.
You know, we're young and we're just having
Yeah.
fun.
Well,
Okay.
young and having fun and having loud parties on weekdays and
Okay,
roaming
so
nude in the backyard.
have you considered maybe setting reasonable like hours within the weekdays about maybe some of the parties that you throw with your friends? Or,
I mean, what time, because my time, like how late it is might be not as late for her or might be late for her. I
what do
don't
you
know.
think? What's
Well,
something that you would consider?
To us, like 12 o'clock is still pretty early, maybe by 1 or 2.
And that's a problem for me on weekdays. There's 12, no, that does not work for me.
What about maybe something where you host the parties, if it's inside, or do you like to be outside?
Well, I mean, we do go
With our
inside, but
neighbors.
I mean, we got the hot tub on purpose and we can use it, you know, with our friends. So, I mean, I don't.
But
We can make it half like part of the party out inside and outside. I mean, if that would help. I don't know.
Why not just wait till weekend? I don't get, why are you having a party on a Tuesday night?
Okay, well, maybe we can, I mean, you did consider saying that you could do it inside and outside. Maybe in
Yes.
restrictions, or in regards to the neighbors, that maybe we can set a schedule to have your parties at least hosted inside during the weekdays, so it doesn't bother, the
Yeah, I mean, I could
neighbors
definitely.
and such.
We could work out that.
Okay.
Because your main concern is you still want to have leisure time.
Yeah,
to
we
do
definitely still, you know, we have very busy friends, and sometimes weekends aren't like we can't
Available.
hang out, yeah, with each other. So we just do these random weekday nights.
And your main concern is over your children.
Right, but like I said, my children are asleep. Lights are out 9:30, they're asleep by 10. So if you want to go into the jacuzzi and do whatever you guys do in the jacuzzi after 10 p.m., I guess
fine.
that's okay, but don't have a party. Because I mean, the noise level results on whether or not how many people are out there. And I feel the amount of people that you bring over at night on weekdays is just not appropriate.
Or maybe because if she decides that her friends can only get together on weekdays, then maybe we can set some restrictions to just keeping indoors, just so it isn't so noisy to the neighbors.
I mean, yeah, well, we can't promise it's always going to be indoors because, you know, again, like, we just spent so much money building it. So, I mean, I could definitely limit the people that come over. Maybe, I don't know, that would.
Do your friends not have houses themselves?
They have houses, but I mean,
Maybe
we build
they
a new
can
backyard,
throw-
so we want to have guests children.
They've
you know?
seen it a lot though. They've been over a couple of times. I think they've seen it.
I mean, again, it's my choice, I feel like.
Maybe just rotating who throws the parties. Maybe go over there, wherever they live, and have these weekday parties, nude parties, whatever you guys do.
Well, I definitely feel like, Miss Taylor and her husband and family are, judging us and against us. Like, as you can see, she's obviously still mad about it, and the whole sign
very
situation was
mad
just
about it.
ridiculous.
I'm
So,
very upset about
I
it.
feel like that should be taken care of as well as the noise and,
And it is my
Yes.
opinion. I think what you're doing is wrong.
Well, we'll both have, everybody's gonna have a little bit different opinions on the matter, but if she's considering some restrictions on the timing, and the people that she allows over, would you consider some of the issues about her safety, about the sign?
I mean, I suppose if she just felt so offended by this sign and felt harassed, which I mean, okay, yeah, the sign, I can remove the sign if nudity is not present during the day at any time around my children in the backyard. Parties are not nude, whatever you guys do during the weekdays at night, it's not going on either. The sign can go down if it offended you so much.
well, we can promise that, the nudity won't happen during the day, we go in the hot tub at night, so, I mean, that's one thing we can do.
What about after, maybe trying to do it after 10 o'clock to where at least her children are in bed?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely work that out. If it really bothers her that much and her children can accidentally see or whatever, we can keep it till 10 after. We stay up late anyway, so, yeah.
But I'm just saying, going out at 10 still, that still results in noise. And I mean, they might be asleep, but if you have people over, that's when they make noise and they'll wake up and then they could accidentally see. So,
Are
It's
these
the
parties
noise.
usually like everyone nude or?
No, I mean, we just, sometimes we're in our swimsuits, sometimes, I mean, we don't really regulate anything. We're just like young people having fun.
free spirited.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you been to Long Beach before?
No,
No, I really think you'd like the city.
because, we've been in the neighborhood for 10 years, so we
Yeah.
don't plan on
I'm
leaving
just suggesting. It's pretty free.
Yeah, no. we
Are
don't
you
plan
guys
on leaving.
Democrats?
Yes.
Okay, let's refrain from asking questions, let's just ask so we don't make any more judgments.
Oh, it's not, it was just a question.
Okay, so what else is important to you on the matter?
Honestly, just the fact that like you can see like the ridicule and judgment, but other than that, like, I definitely agree, like the kids watching us or accidentally seeing us is really weird, like we wouldn't want that ourselves. So with the whole fence thing, we can totally get that fixed, but as far as noise goes, I don't know what we can do to, limit the noise, besides having less people over,
Well, and that would,
Don't have parties on weekdays.
I mean, the other issue is she's not your only neighbor, right? So
Yeah.
you might have complaints. I'm not saying you should stop the parties
Yeah.
altogether, but you might
I
have
mean,
other
if there are
complaints.
other complaints, I will seriously consider, the parties. If it's just Miss Taylor here, then I feel like, it's not enough for us to change our whole lifestyle because of one neighbor. But if everyone else is bothered by it,
Neighbor and their children.
okay, well, at least you see there is an issue at hand about the people, and you're considering some limitations on that.
yeah, we can set something up to only have people over like maybe once or twice during the week. But I mean, stopping it all together, right? Do you not see how that's like unfair? Because like we just spend so much. We spend $30,000 renovating, so we feel like we deserve to use it, with our friends.
And you do deserve to use it, I agree, but on the weekends, why? I mean, everyone has to go to work, people have to go to school, And you throw these late parties during like the weekdays. That's when everyone is working or has to go to school the next day. I mean, that's just like a disruptiveness to everyone else in the neighborhood when you're throwing these things. I mean, you have to consider everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, again, like me and my husband can plan it where it's only once or twice a week during the weekday, but like I said before, weekends, my friends are busy, and it just works out where we can, do this stuff on weekdays, weeknights. So, I don't know.
Okay. So what else would concern you about the issue if she were to set some limitations on the amount of people that she has over on the weekdays?
Well, to be honest, besides that and just the public displays of nudity, I really don't have any. I mean, as long as I feel my children won't see and that they are not in danger. I mean, I don't know you, so I don't know what could possibly go on if they're just roaming nude in the backyard. I mean, those are my main issues. Just the public displays of nudity, the noise level, and these parties that are thrown late at night on the weekdays.
Okay, so with mending the fence and setting some limitations on the amount of people that she has over, that should settle some of the noise issues at least throughout the week. And the nudity issue, you would agree to
Yes,
do
the
that
fence
after.
definitely has to be fixed because
Right.
no one is spying or looking. But if I can visibly see easily, I mean, that's a problem.
Mhm.
We don't want that either. We want anyone to see, but also
No.
this whole sign situation and ridicule, I feel like needs to go as well
Mhm.
in order for me to do my
Okay, would you consider the sign and,
I said the sign can go, but I mean, I have a right to my own opinion. I don't think what you do is right, correct. So that's going to just be that. But the sign can go. I don't have a problem with the sign. I mean, they're obviously offended by a sign, so that can go.
okay, what else might work to where you can both be able to openly talk to one another to where you don't have
Well,
to take this into it?
I'm always willing to openly talk. It was you who drove off in your car and completely ignored everything that I was trying to discuss and express with you. So, I mean, you're sitting here talking about ridicule and being rude. I mean, you completely dismissed my attempt to try and communicate with you. So, I'm open. We never have to come back here again. I'm a very communicative person. It's when you choose not to communicate. This is the reason why we're here today.
Well,
What about for you?
well, my reason for that actually, I remember that morning, but I was in a hurry. I had.
So say you're in a hurry.
Business.
Hey, I'll talk to you later.
Well, yeah. It was just honestly bad timing. I'm willing to talk to Miss Taylor and her husband about anything they want to. So, but that's my thing. Like, I don't know how. Like, after if we do limit the people, limit the noise and all that, how do I know that my neighbors are satisfied? Like, what can we do?
Ask.
I mean,
And if we're not, trust me, you'll know.
Okay, well, if you can at least establish some, I mean, we're getting to the point where you're at least coming to an agreement on some things and you're finding respect for one another. So if we can open the field of communication, that's going to be able to, eliminate any further disputes and hopefully no mediations or lawsuits, because that can get terrible.
It can be
So-
costly, and it has a lot of consequences for both parties.
So once you open up that field of communication, it's going to be a lot better on both your parts. So as long as you both are willing, to do that and to talk to one another and see how it goes in, the next couple weeks, and both of you just go over to each other's houses, talk with one another, see how it's going. It should help.
Yeah.
Do you agree, or what do you think?
I agree with that. Again, we've been at this house for a decade, so we have no intention of moving, and I feel like that would, keep the peace. I guess if we were able to talk to them.
Yes, I agree. If we can talk, openly speak.
I think we just have different perspectives and different
Very different.
personalities, so I think that's where we clash. But it's just how it is.
So yeah, have we covered everything? Or the other issues at hand?
Yes, for my part.
I think that everything's been covered too.
Okay. Well, let me write up an agreement about the issues. We'll take down the sign, and we can set some restrictions to the time, after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
and the limitations on the people that you have over, fixing the fence, and then having an open field of communication. And that should be a lot easier on both your parts. And
Okay.
make it all easier. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you
Mrs.
both for
Johnson,
coming,
Mrs. Taylor, yes, thank you very much, and,
for cooperating.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ashley Delane, and this is Sabrina Morak. We are certified mediators and have been trained to hear disputes such as the one before us today. Our purpose here today is to act as the mediators in this case and to assist you in the resolution of the dispute that brings us to the table. Let me begin by stating that I am not here to represent either side, any particular position. I will not express partiality or take sides during this process. My goal is to assist each of you in reaching an acceptable settlement of this matter. I have no power to impose a decision on you or to decide how this matter should be settled. In a mediation session, I ask of you to verify that you willingly accept the opportunity to participate, so that you are both comfortable with each other's good intentions. I will have you sign agreements to participate in this process. So, could you please sign this agreement? Confidentiality is a critical part of this process. Generally, if you tell me something in private and ask me to keep it confidential, I am bound by law not to disclose this information voluntarily. Having said that, I want you to please remember the facts that were discoverable before this mediation session do not become confidential merely because they are presented during the mediation conference. It is only those things you say or write in confidence to me during the mediation that I will not disclose.
Okay. So before we begin, let me explain the procedure we will use. When I complete these statements, each of you will have the opportunity to make an uninterrupted opening statement to describe the problem as you see it. First, I will ask Ms. Taylor to make an uninterrupted opening statement. I would like it if both of you could explain yourselves from start to finish on the matter. Please keep in mind that we need to be respectful of one another and not to interrupt each other when we speak. Afterwards, I will then ask Mr. Johnson to tell us his side of the story. After that, we will transition into a joint discussion centering on possible solutions, and I ask that each of you be thinking of how you might like to resolve this matter. If we reach an agreement today, it will be written and each of you will be asked to verify it and sign it. I will also sign it as a witness. Each of you will be provided with a copy of the agreement today. At this time, please turn off all cell phones, pagers, and electronic devices. Let me once again congratulate you guys for being here today to try to work this out. Your presence here today demonstrates your willingness to attempt cooperative problem solving. Are there any questions at this point? No?
No.
Okay, if not, then Ms. Taylor, if you could please give us your point of view on this ongoing dispute.
Yes, so my family and I recently moved to the neighborhood, and I have two young children. I have a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. And we were having a family barbecue one evening, and as we're outside, I peeked through and I could see, there's like a hole in the fence, and I could see like something going on next door. And I looked over and I noticed that my neighbors were both nude, and so I rushed the children inside because, well, first of all, I don't know the neighbors, I don't know any of their intentions, but I also did not want my 9-year-old and 12-year-old to see what was going on next door. I don't want them to see, you know, any new people whatsoever. We are strongly against that. You know, we are a very religious family. My children are both in private religious schools, so. And ever since then, I'm afraid to have any like family barbecues. I just, having the nudist next door is kind of, it's just very unsettling for us. And we've tried to, you know, talk, I've tried multiple times to talk with our neighbors about the matter, and they've been, I don't know, they've been rushed away or haven't wanted to discuss anything. So I'm just really uncomfortable with what's going on next door to our home with my children.
Okay.
My only issue is I feel like I can be nude wherever I want well, not wherever I want, but wherever it is in my home. Like if it's in my backyard, that's like my business, it's my property. I can be nude if I choose to be, you know, if I want to be nude. Another thing is, me and my wife, we spent like 30 grand on like the whole backyard, renovating it, you know, putting in a hot tub and a new barbecue, and we like inviting people over, having parties, but we want to use that to its full capacity, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like since it's our backyard, I mean, we can do whatever we please. I mean, it's part of our property, and if we choose to be, you know, nude and intimate in the backyard, I don't see what the problem is. I don't know why you have to go and like spy on us. I feel like it's kind of weird how you know that we've been doing these things. I think it's kind of wrong that you've been peeking through the fence or whatnot. I think that's totally wrong. And then on top of that, you decided one morning to, I guess, prevent me from going to work. And she like rambled about like her children and how like she's scared and like she fears for the safety of the children, because I don't know, it kind of made me seem like that I was a pervert, but that's not the case. Like, we're just doing this in my backyard. I've never once like talked to your children, never will. I really don't care, and I just think that's way out of line. Oh yeah, and on top of that, she decided to put a sign up saying no nudity, that there are children around. I think that's kind of like, it's like a jab to me and my wife. It's kind of humiliating to put that on, you know, the neighborhood. I just think that's totally wrong.
Was the sign in their house or?
It's like outside of their house,
Okay.
but it's like facing towards ours.
Okay.
And you can kind of get like it's indirectly targeting us.
Mhm.
I feel that's totally wrong.
We had no means of communication. I went over to your house several times to try and talk with you about the issue, and you weren't willing to talk to me. And so that was the next step, because
That's
if we're not
because-
going to have any communication,
But that's
I don't
because you
want my
only want to
neighbors to
talk
be muted.
like during the morning when I have to go to work.
okay, well, that's because at evenings you're throwing parties with your friends. And so
You
if
can
we
come
had
join
no
if you
means.
want.
No, we know, me and my family, we're very religious, and we don't want to
So
participate
since
in
you're religious,
any
you
nudist
can't-
parties.
Okay,
can't
well,
let
let's
loose and have
speak
parties.
one time, one person at a time, so that we respect each other. And we'll have one person speak and then the next person speak after. What exactly concerns you about the situation?
That I do not want my children seeing any nudity next door, and
Then
I've
tell them
seen
not
them.
to peek.
There's a mend in the fence, and we can see it. We can see
But cover it
you.
with paper, I don't know.
We can see you and your wife, and they're naked, and I have young children.
The
So you're
hole-
worried for
The
your
hole is
children.
on their
Yes.
side of the fence. I don't know what they've been doing. They might have, for all I know. they
If it's on
might
our
have-
side of the fence, it's on your side of the fence as well. You can see.
Just block with paper. I don't see what the problem is.
Well, obviously, Mr. Johnson, as Taylor, is, you know, very, like, this is a sensitive subject to her. She doesn't want her kids seeing that type of behavior going on. And with the hole being in the fence, I mean, they're bound to accidentally see it, I'm guessing. Is that
Yeah.
correct, Ms. Taylor?
But I mean, how big is the hole?
It's big enough to where I knew that you were naked, and you and your wife
Yeah,
were both
because you
naked.
deliberately like look through the hole. Like, no?
We didn't deliberately look
Or is
in
it
the
just
hole,
so
we saw.
huge that if you like just look in the general
No,
direction,
but
you
you
can
know, if
see
you kind
the
of
whole.
focus your eyes. You
But
can
is it
see.
even like that? Yeah, it doesn't matter how big the hole is. I think it's just very strange how you're spying on us. I don't feel safe. I feel like you guys are being very creepy in the way that you know of certain things that me and my wife tend to do, but that's just all in our free time. I don't see what the real problem is. If we're doing it in our backyard, I mean, if we were doing it in your backyard, then okay, that makes total sense. Like, we wouldn't be doing that. We don't do it out in public. We just do it in the confine of our home. So.
Right, well, we're definitely not spying on you because we don't want to see you naked and we don't want to see your wife naked, and that's the whole point of this, is that we don't want to see that at all. But if there is a crack in the fence and we can see it, and my children have the, capability of seeing you two naked, that's crossing the line, and I don't think that that's right. I think that, I don't think that that's right at all.
Mr. Johnson, how big is the fence, and is it covering?
Well, I mean, the fence is like, it's about, really, it's like 6 feet, 7 feet, something like that.
Okay.
And I mean, it's all wooden, so it's not like it's a fence with like wire and it's
Holes
like
and stuff.
overlapping. It's not like there's holes everywhere, or like see-through. Like you just apparently there is a hole, and that's why they've been able
Yeah.
to see it. I've never seen this particular opening of the fence.
So, what exactly concerns you about the situation? How are you feeling?
Well, my only concern is they're kind of creeping up on what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if the hole is it's accessible or any other means. That's kind of weird. I think it's an invasion of my privacy. I don't feel I'm safe.
So this is a safety issue?
Well, I mean, it's more of a privacy issue.
Okay.
Really. I mean,
Right, well, we're definitely not trying to look at you, but if there is a crack and there's a hole in the fence and we see that from
well,
our
then we should mend
backyard,
it, no?
we should. And if you plan on being naked all the time, then we should definitely
Okay,
have
it's
built
not-
a fence
I think
that
that's an
was
exaggeration.
a little.
Well, let's let her finish. Let's let
Yeah,
her
okay.
finish.
And then I'll tell you where you're wrong.
Okay, if you had built a fence deliberately since you were redoing your backyard and you planned on being nude with your wife, wouldn't you think that you would want it completely enclosed, that you wouldn't want?
Well, yeah, I didn't
people
know
to
there was the
see?
hole.
Because, we do not want to see that, of course. That's the whole point of this. I don't want my children to see. We're not trying to spy on you, but if that's what we see, I'm not trying to deliberately look over.
Right, but you
But
have a
we see
choice
it.
whether to look through the hole or not, or any opening.
Yeah, just like my
fence.
child, a 9-year-old, what do you think she's gonna do? If she sees
So
that.
you're teaching your 9-year-old to be nosy.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if Miss Taylor claims that she can see through the hole without
Yeah, but how
by
big is it?
glancing,
But how big is it really?
Big enough to where we can see you.
From like where? Do you have to be
From
very
in our
close?
backyard.
So
You
you
don't
can
have
be
to be
anywhere in
that
your backyard and look through that.
Not anywhere, but within a couple feet, and that's enough.
Okay.
That's enough. It doesn't matter.
And-
It doesn't matter if we're going like this.
Right,
It
but
doesn't, because my children can see.
yeah, but it's you're only seeing through what? Like so, for instance, if I could like move the hot tub. So are you saying is the opening where you can see, is it directly to the hot tub?
It's your backyard. We can
The
see
whole
it
backyard.
a few
From
feet
that
away.
little hole, you can see the whole yard.
We can see you naked. We can see you.
Mr.
in
Johnson,
your-
I think the main thing is that they end up seeing it. I mean, clearly, Ms.
Well,
Taylor
yeah,
said that
clearly.
they don't try to. It's not
Yeah.
on
Okay,
purpose,
well,
but they
then
end up seeing
you're-
it. Do
I
you
do not want my
I
children
mean,
to
your
see
only
that.
solution would be to mend the hole, and that's it.
Now, Mr. Johnson, do you
That way
feel
you're-
comfortable with?
Yeah,
You've obviously felt
definitely.
comfortable
Yeah,
with
well,
them
yeah.
looking at you. Okay, so
That's exactly what I've been saying for the past 5 minutes.
okay, so it's obvious that the hole needs to be covered.
Yeah, of course.
Not with a
Main
piece
thing.
of paper. We're not
Yeah,
just gonna put
definitely not a piece of paper.
Whatever it needs to be covered with, so that you're not peeping through the hole.
Now, if the hole's covered, is it still? Are you and your family still bound to see over the fence? Is that an issue?
would that satisfy?
No, that's not an issue. That I know they do tend to throw a lot of parties, and it can get pretty late at night. I have a 9-year-old, and 12-year-old. We both, work long days, and it's very unsettling to
So
them. They're
I
they're
work
consistently having
long
parties.
hours too. I work at a gas station.
Okay, so you're worried about, Ms. Taylor, you're worried about how many people are over? Why does that affect you?
It's just the noise level. The noise level. They have their parties throughout the week, and they're nude. I know they're back.
We're not nude at the parties. Come
I
on.
know that.
Okay,
She's
so
the first neighbor in 30 years to complain about these things. First neighbor in 30 years. You know how many 30? You know how long 30 years
So-
is?
Well-
3 decades.
Possibly the issue hasn't been present until now.
Right. But I've been doing basically the same thing.
So
Party-wise.
let's not bring up history and discuss what's going on presently.
Well, I'm not just gonna change my whole lifestyle just because one neighbor decided to complain about this kind of
Because
thing.
obviously
So you
both
want my
would-
children to see you naked?
No, that's the. Did I ever say that? Did I ever say?
So what could
Sorry,
we
no.
do?
Did I ever say that I wanted her children to see me?
No, I think
that you
it's
don't
clear
care.
that both of you want to be Mr. Johnson's lifestyle in private. I think you agree
Yeah, I
you
want
want your
it.
lifestyle to be in private.
It's my
you want
house.
his
It's
lifestyle
my
to be in private.
backyard. I don't want anyone to see that unless you're invited, right?
Okay, so we can agree that you all want our privacy. You
Yeah.
don't want the nudity being seen by anyone else but you and your wife.
Yeah, of course.
So what needs to happen so that everyone can be happy in the situation?
Well, that fence needs to be mended.
So if the fence is mended,
Yeah.
Miss Taylor, would that help?
Yes, that would help. It doesn't help the noise level or the fact that you won't talk to my husband and I about any issues.
No, you talk to your
Okay,
husband.
so can we establish an open way of communication?
Yeah, I'll be able to talk with them, not just when I have to go to work, when they try to block my driveway.
So possibly if an occurrence happens again in the future and you have something to say to the Johnsons and you guys are in a rush or you're not or whatever's going on, maybe you could say, oh, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm in a hurry and maybe we can discuss this
That's
later.
exactly what I've been trying to say.
Well, then how come you haven't said it? Because we've been over several times and I didn't know that you were rushing to work and you haven't said anything to us.
Lady, everyone goes
And-
to work in the morning.
Okay, well, okay, then you're the one who parties all night, so you're saying that you have to work.
You come
Well, I
over
think-
to one of my
Okay,
parties,
so I
you're
think Miss
invited, your
Taylor and her
neighbor.
husband weren't aware
Sorry?
that you. I think that Miss Taylor and her husband weren't aware that you were in a hurry. So
Really? Because she's
Well,
already done
you
this like
said
7
that you're
times
open
already.
to means of communication, then
Yeah, I'm
then
open.
you've sped off every single time I've tried to talk to you.
Because I'm in a hurry.
So I'm saying,
So
If it took you-
so I'm saying,
I've done this like maybe 5 times, 7 times, and you still insist on talking to
So
me at
I'm
the same
saying-
hour.
but maybe you should say that. Say,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
I'm
well,
in a
hey,
hurry,
guess
don't
what?
talk to
Guess
me
what?
right now.
Now you know. Now you know you can't talk to me.
Okay.
yeah. So from now on, we won't catch him at the wrong time. Let's try to find a good time where.
So what
You
would
can
be,
talk.
yes, let's talk about that now. What would
Well,
be
get
a
off at
reasonable
work.
time to
Usually-
discuss?
Okay, usually I get off work at like 8, sometimes 9 p.m.
Okay, so Miss Taylor, if you want to talk.
Like I said, I work at a gas station. I mean, the hours are pretty long. So that's why, like, I tend to have my parties or whatever, my gatherings, as you could say, rather late because I don't have other time in the day or during the week, and like I don't have weekends like you have, like your kids, that they can like have the full day to themselves. I don't have that, so I only have what little time I have during the night to relax and whatever. And instead of choosing to just, I guess, sleep, I choose to be with my friends and over at my house. I mean, my house is relatively larger than theirs, and the backyard is bigger than whatever they have. So that's why I have, or the majority of the parties that we have as a group, they're always, and the venue's always in my house. So do you see the problem, or not the
Yeah.
problem, but do you see where I'm coming from? Like,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for like
Definitely.
more than around like 15 years because,
Mm.
the neighbors have been, or my friends have been, they've moved from wherever they came from and they're here, and I've already had like a set group of friends. we
And
have
you
gatherings
feel
and stuff.
entitled to do,
Well, yeah, I
whatever you
mean,
want to do because it's your
If it's a
backyard
noise issue,
and-
then I do some arrangements. I make some arrangements to not be so noisy, because I can relate to for like the children. Like I understand, like if they have like a school day, the next day, then
Are other
obviously
people
being
complaining about, other neighbors complaining about the noise issue? Is it just you families?
Or have you not discussed?
Yeah.
well, I mean, we live next door to each other,
Mhm.
I'm not
so I can
sure.
kind of understand. And she's new, and she has this family. And I mean, I didn't have neighbors who had family. They didn't have children.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why they haven't argued or complained in the past. And I can kind of understand it, but also I'm not going to drastically change anything just because you want it to be that.
Yeah. Okay, we don't want your, to change your lifestyle or anything like that. I think we're just gonna try to find a solution to like where both of you can be happy, yes.
So, Miss Taylor, this noise level, what would need to happen for you to feel okay with it?
Well, just have at least considerable hours, my children go to school Monday through Friday, and I don't want any noise
Right,
levels to
So
where they have to wake up.
I
and
can't.
What are considerable hours to you? And then
Right,
what
no,
are
but here's the
hours to
thing,
you?
we already know what considerable hours are. Since they're 9 and 12, right? They're not gonna be up, what, 10, 11? That's usually when I have my gatherings, because like I said, some days I get off at 8, some days I get off at 9. And so I don't have, I can't give you the considerable hours that you want. Do you understand?
I understand that, but
Maybe
my problem is
Maybe
I
buy
don't
your
want
children
my,
some earplugs, I don't know.
they're 9 and 12, I'm not gonna stick earplugs in my children's ears
Miss
to go to
Miss
bed.
Taylor also has a right to live her life the way she wants, and if her kids, she chooses to have her kids sleeping at that time, I think you need to respect that as well as she needs to respect
You got a
yours.
soundproof glass, I don't know.
So, what about, how often do you have these parties?
I have these gatherings around maybe twice a week, maybe.
Twice a week?
And this is on a weekday, correct?
Yeah,
Weekdays?
sometimes. Well, yeah, sometimes Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually when I have these parties, because I get off at 8. And
Okay.
if I'm lucky, I might get someone to take over my shift earlier. And so, but it's very rare. 'Cause, like on holidays, I'll be able to do that. And then maybe if I'm up for it, maybe a weekend,
Okay.
like on Saturday or Sunday.
So, Miss Taylor, if we establish that these parties are only held once or twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday, could possibly other days the noise level not be as high, or?
Well, so what does that mean, that you're just gonna be unreasonably high on Tuesdays and Thursdays and my children won't be able to sleep?
I mean, we're not gonna be loud. I mean, what is your definition of loud?
Well, you're just,
Like,
what you're telling
we're
me is
supposed to
that you're
have
not willing
communication
to
right now, right?
change. You're not willing to.
No,
That's
that's not what I'm
the-
saying. I'm not saying I'm gonna completely have some drastic change about my lifestyle. But I also need to know the definition of loud for you, right? That way then I know what we
Well-
can change.
Do you believe the noise level is only loud because the parties are held outside? Or,
Yeah, that's partially the reason, is that the parties are held
Are we
outside.
too loud? Do we talk too loud? Do we play music? What's the issue? What is the main contributing factor for the noise?
The amount of people,
The amount of
Probably.
people.
the amount of people.
So, Mr.
Like a large
Johnson, would you
factor,
consider,
Because noise levels tend to go up when you have more people over.
I mean, it depends. I mean, you all can be quiet.
Okay, so I don't really get what you're saying. So you're saying if there's a little amount of people, it could be louder than a larger amount of people?
Yeah, yeah, of course. If you have a large amount of
Okay,
people.
so what's
but
your definition of loud? Because you're asking me and you're
But
asking my
that's-
children to put earplugs in their ears.
having the
Pretty
amount of
unreasonable.
people doesn't mean that you're being loud. You can have 3 people
What
yelling
does
at
that
the
matter?
Yeah, I
Definitely
don't
matters.
I mean,
If you have 3 people
Okay, so
over,
what is
no,
your
listen.
point, though?
If you have 3 people
What's the
over
point?
and you're shouting at the top of your lungs compared to 10 people who are just talking at normal.
But I think
Right, okay,
Well,
the
yeah.
problem
The
is
point-
that Ms.
right.
Taylor's disturbed by
the
it.
point is
Yeah.
the
She's
noise.
disturbed by the noise. So it doesn't
Yes.
matter how many people I have in the yard. It just
Okay, so
it just
that doesn't
matters.
matter.
No, it matters that they're not being loud, right? Correct.
Okay.
Or
Okay,
does
yeah, I think-
or does having too many people in my yard unsettle you for some reason?
No, go ahead, have as many people as you want if you think that they're gonna be just as quiet as 3 people, if that's what you think, because that's really logical.
But if if we're able to pull that off, would that be a problem?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
That's
That's
not
what-
a
that's
problem.
exactly
Yeah, I don't
what
think Ms. Taylor's concern is how many people, you're right, I think
That's
she's
exactly what I
concerned-
said.
You're right, okay, that's correct, so.
That's what I'm arguing.
Okay,
But what can we do to solve that?
Yes,
How can we
how
make
can we
it?
decrease the noise
I
level?
mean,
or-
the only way you can have a solution to this is by I'd have to talk to my visitors to lower the.
Could you
volume.
possibly,
I could possibly move, for instance, maybe have like the first half hour of the gathering, because I mean we like to wine taste. I don't know. we like to be fancy like that. It's stupid, but whatever. We like doing that. And we could just do that outside for like half an hour, and then the
And
rest
then
of the party
resort
can just be
inside?
inside, and then whatever. You don't have to be.
Okay, so my question is to you, what time do your children go to sleep?
They go to sleep at 8 o'clock.
They go to sleep at 8. Okay, you get off at 8.
Yeah.
So if you have these
It
gatherings,
takes me about like 20 minutes to get back.
okay, so if you have these gatherings at your home, and let's say the first hour, half hour, whatever, you have it outside and then you move inside, that would eliminate the sound that you may hear, correct? Okay, so would that be all right with you?
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
So, does that satisfy everyone's needs there?
Yeah. Mhm.
Because you still get to have your parties and then therefore the noise level goes down and your children aren't being disrupted.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, so as long, and then just the nudity, as long as, I don't want my children to have to.
Okay, well,
Just
that,
mend
the fence
mend
would,
the fence, and you'll be rid of that problem.
we can, so again, I just wanna make sure, so the fence, having the fence, you can't see over the fence, correct? It's just the holes, that one hole, or? Okay, so if we get that fixed, I mean, then you or your family won't bound to seeing it. And is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Both of you guys, okay? What else do you guys have concerns? What are your other concerns or issues that you have, Mr. Johnson? do you have any?
I don't have other concerns, just let me do my stuff. And as long as we're not being loud, then we should be allowed to do virtually almost anything.
Okay. And Ms. Taylor, you think that the sign can,
Oh yeah,
I
that
don't know
needs
if
to
it's
go
still
away,
up
that's
there or?
just pointless,
Yeah.
really.
Right, yeah, as long as
Because
we
I
can,
think Mr. Johnson feels like him and his family are being.
if we can establish a means of communication as well, so I don't feel
Yeah,
like
just-
so blocked off.
You already know my schedule.
Okay, so then we can agree that the sign will come down.
Yeah.
We can also agree that the fence will be mended so that there's no hole and there's no possible way that you guys can see through the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also agree that the gatherings that you hold at night will be held outside for a short amount of time and then will be brought back inside so
It won't be
that the
loud.
noise won't also affect the children sleeping, right? So can we both live with this and agree with this?
Yeah, it's fine.
And have we covered everything? Are both your needs satisfied?
Yeah.
And if there are other openings in the fence, then we have to mend those too.
Right, so, and
We'll
if we
have to come back
establish,
here and,
right,
talk
communication,
about this.
what can we make sure so that we're not here again? What needs to be done so that
Well, like
we
I
don't-
said, I mean, we just need, well, you need to know my schedule. You already do,
Yeah, we have a schedule as well, so it's not just you that.
but
have
you're
a
almost
schedule.
always in the house, so, at night, right? Like, you don't,
Yeah, my children
So-
go to bed at 8 though, so we do
Yeah.
have like different schedules, because my children are in bed at 8.
right, if you have
Start-
another,
You don't get home till 8, so.
if we're being too loud, like, just come over and tell me.
Or call.
Or, yeah, no, I wouldn't call, 'cause, I mean, if you do have a lot of people. I might not hear the phone, that's why I'm saying you might wanna just, if it
So
gets
the best
too,
way to contact you is
Well-
just.
well, yeah.
Okay,
if it gets too uncontrollable, or I might just give you my cell.
okay.
Yeah.
So I think we've reached an agreement, both of you guys are
Yes.
satisfied? Okay. Okay, yeah, so, we can, I guess we'll just sign this agreement.
And I want to thank you both for coming out here today and helping to resolve this issue at hand. And I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
We are group 5.
Group 5. So we're on the, coming to an end of the mediation. I think this one went really good. It was kind of hard to come up with things to say as the party because
So
There
little
wasn't-
information.
yeah, there was like little information and it seemed like there wasn't an answer to the solution, so it was really hard to like come up with different things to say. because it seems so easy to just be able to say the solution. You just said it right at first.
Yeah, the solution was pretty easy to find. I think it'd be a lot harder if the nudity was happening outside of their own property.
Right.
Like if it was like happening in the neighborhood at night.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot worse. And I think you could find, I think each party could have like a lengthy discussion about that. Because one might be like insane and say like,
Yeah.
well, no, it's my body, I can do
Right.
whatever I want. And the other one would be like, no, I'm going to call the cops on you and blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
So I feel like the solution was pretty easy to find. There wasn't enough meat on the bone to actually just carry the mediation through and make it lengthy. I feel like the first two, and the dirt track, were really good, really good ones because the fact sheet thing
Yeah.
had a lot to. They had more
In depth, like
in depth.
yeah, there's so much to talk about. There's
Yeah.
so many different things. This
And-
one was just
Yeah, and they were more
Religion.
controversial,
yeah.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, for example,
It was just two different lifestyles.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was like
and-
hard to kind of like.
I feel like the
Yeah,
first three were more of a danger, I guess, to like each party because
Yeah.
like for example like the one with the koi pond, like the gas, that like anyone would mediate over that. Like they would go like, yeah, not head over heels, but they would get very mad over
Yeah.
that kind of thing because who wants gas in their backyard and the
Right.
dirt also, and that just makes more sense. You
Yeah.
could just argue for longer periods of time. And yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, mediate, we did get as mediators too. I think we came up with a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think that too. I mean, I think this mediation or the mediators part may have been the easiest to
Yeah.
mediate this
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
But I also feel that even though it was the easiest, as mediators, we all contribute, I think, a lot more to the conversation this time that was going on, and we were all able to intervene and really ask questions and get a good solution. But I think that we're doing good and that everything is well, and that we've learned a lot, and that our mediation skills have dramatically improved since the first one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're all asking like the appropriate questions, open-ended questions.
yeah, including iMessages and
Mhm.
making sure we ask, well, how's this making you feel, and are your needs being
I
satisfied?
feel like you're meaning this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. I feel like
Right.
we're all
Addressing
learning
both
emotions.
concerns.
into
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I feel like something we need to improve on is addressing poison. Because, I mean, we do say, oh, refrain from being mean or something like that,
Mhm.
respect one another, but I think we
We're
need
talking
to
about religion.
identify the poison.
Right.
So if they're saying something like, oh, they're a Christian and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
you
Right.
should say, oh,
should
that's kind
stop.
of, yeah, you're religiously, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you're pointing that
You're
out.
bashing them out.
Yeah, you're bashing
It's
them
not
out because
appropriate.
it's not appropriate, like,
Yeah.
I think what you mean is blah, blah,
Mhm.
right?
I agree,
I think we
yes.
should do that. But other than that, we're fine. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing, we're being neutral, we're not like,
Bias.
we're not biased,
Yeah,
yeah, we're not
sides.
with one side.
Mhm.
We listen to both sides, we always want to address like, what are your needs, what do you want? What do you feel you can change? And yeah,
Yeah, I think we're doing good.
so yeah,
In
stay,
mediation.
keep
One
your
more.
clothes on people and just, yeah, alright.
Okay.
Thanks.